people take themselves too seriously, but then not seriously at all. But not enough to actually make a good joke. They just comment on what they're doing as a joke. And it's not funny. Nobody is actually funny anymore. They do serious things, comment on the serious thing as being funny and ironic. That's jokes now. That's memes.
You really just succinctly said that.
It's a miracle.
Thank God for the Clips channel, because that's really good. Look, I just commented on. I just did the thing.
You did.
And now I'm doing it again.
Today on the show, was Jesus hinting at multi-simulation theory? I have the verses to manipulate to fit my worldview.
How should we feel about the fact that the government is trying to ban TikTok? Bipartisan support? I am very conflicted.
I don't trust anything that's bipartisan. And if you have seen all the news about planes falling out of the sky recently, and you thought, I wonder if that's going to be a conspiracy theory on the Blimey Cow podcast. The answer is absolutely yes.
All this and more on episode 44 of the Blimey Cow podcast. So I took my middle son, Elliot, 2-year-old, to Goodwill the other day. And he starts climbing through the clothing racks. And every time he pops out, he says, "That was my magic trick." He'll disappear, come back. "That was my magic trick." And I guess I showed some support for the idea at some point, so he just kept doing it.
Of course.
While we're standing in line waiting. So then we go to bargain hunt after that. He's like running ahead of me going, "I got to find a new place to hide." And because he wants to do another magic trick. "I got to do a magic trick. Got to find a new place to hide." And then, so I turn my head for just like a split second and I hear, "Thoof!" And I look over and he's like falling forward in the aisle and he's on the ground. And I'm like, "Are you okay?" And he like lays there, looks back and says, "That was another magic trick." Great magic trick, son.
Was it a magic trick, or did he was just trying to...
I think he was trying to play it off.
That's genius. I feel like that's elevated thought.
He's already on that meta level.
Yeah, that was a meta joke. Welcome everyone to the Blimey Cow podcast. Every Friday we try to make the world a little less messy. My name is Jordan.
And I'm Josh. We've got a fun episode of the show for you today. Lots of news items, foreign affairs.
Haiti, we don't even talk about that.
Oh yeah, I
was just there.
I thought about that.
I was in Haiti and the Dominican, like within 4 months of each other.
Wow. Well,
what's going on?
You didn't get eaten, so that's good.
Would the cruise ships have just like left?
All I know about the Haiti situation is people were eating each other. That's I don't know anything else going on. So
I'll explain
that
it to
might
you.
just be the psyop.
I'll explain it to you.
Okay.
But not on the podcast, I guess, because it's not a segment.
Oh.
We'll squeeze it in.
I'm sure it'll come up. Comment below with your answer to this week's question. Would you rather play on Survivor or Big Brother?
If you want a free Blimey Cow t-shirt, then head over to supportblimeycow.com. When you join, you get a free Blimey Cow shirt as our way of saying thank you. You also get an exclusive segment of the podcast just for our supporters. So head over to supportblimeycow.com today. Thanks to, I'm going to do my best, Daniel Quartararo, Josiah Newsbaum, Christiana Rankin. Josh, every name is a hard name today.
Why isn't there like a Daniel Smith that
Well, there's a Danielle Singkoffer, Jonah Tremblay, Jacob Gibson, Stan and Pam Feener, Josh, Jeremiah Garcia, there's an easy name, and Rachel Arendt.
She's been to BlimeyCon before.
Thank you all for joining. We almost have 300 members strong.
Join us at supportblimeycow.com. And don't forget to check out the Clips channel. Everything you love about the podcast without the time commitment. Help us get to 1,000 subscribers. We need like 50 more. So if just 50 of you watching this right now, head on over there. Click subscribe.
Just 50 of you. Just do it. And then we can actually monetize.
Well, we still need the watch time. The problem with the channel is that the clips are they're clips. They're shorter. So we don't have the watch time yet. We don't do shorts on there. So we don't have like 3 billion views or whatever amount you need to start monetizing. It's like you need this many hours of watch time or 3 billion short views.
Is that what they say? That's great.
I mean, that's a slight exaggeration.
Okay.
But, whatever. Anyways, head over to youtube.com/@BlimeyCowClips. And Jordan, so we started something.
Yeah, we did. We didn't mean
last week. Yeah, this is great. So now people keep getting in touch that are fans of the show, have watched for a long time, that are working on different creative endeavors, and they're like, "Can we just sponsor a quick segment on the podcast?"
Yeah.
So sure.
Definitely.
So today we want to suggest that you check out Bear, Beaver, and Bee Books by Jordan Sayez. These are kids' books. We actually got the bilingual edition. They sent it to us. We're always kind of trying to teach English and Spanish.
Yeah. Fans of the show.
Fans of the show, please check it out. And it's a Mom's Choice Awards winner. The books have nice morals and principles attached to them, especially obviously this Beaver learns to share. Anybody with kids knows what's up with needing a book about that. So you can head over to sheteachesshewrites.com and pick up a copy of these books today. And finally, thanks to our friends at NordVPN for sponsoring this video. This is a company we know and trust a lot. In fact, right before they got in touch to sponsor a video recently, Jordan had just paid for a year on his own, out of his own pocket.
I'm trying to learn French. This is not a secret anymore, Josh. And so I was like, look, I need a good VPN service, and I've tried some other ones in the past, and it just feels clunky or something. Other ones do. The user interface, Josh, I'm not the most technological person out here on the planet, so I just like how NordVPN looks. They make it very simple to connect to Paris, to connect to Germany, whatever language you're learning. It just helped me so much. I'm like on Netflix, I'm like have all these different things in different languages. I love it. And so now I reached out, and Josh reached out and was like, hey, Jordan, they're sponsoring. They gave me a free year. And I was like, I just bought this. So they gave me another one. So I gave it to Sarah.
He gave it to Sarah.
I gave it to Sarah. I'm learning English too, Josh.
But not only that, NordVPN protects your anonymity online. Their mission is to make the internet better than it is today. You don't need websites or corporations or governments tracking you. One account protects up to 6 devices, and they have dedicated apps for all the major platforms.
Here's what you get when you sign up, okay? Safety online with a single click, a built-in data breach scanner, a password manager, and they even have Nord Locker, which is a cloud storage service to keep all your files safe.
Not only all that, but it's also the fastest VPN on the planet.
Yes.
If you've ever tried to use a free VPN service, don't do that.
I tried. It's not great.
Go to nordvpn.com/cow to get a 2-year plan plus 4 additional months with a huge discount. It's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. That's nordvpn.com/cow.
Well, we did that well.
Top stories.
I made a list of movies for, this is my top story. It's not really, but I'll say it anyways. I made a list of movies to Sarah that I know every word to. I can't quote them just off the top of my head, but if I was watching it, I could anticipate every line.
Okay.
And Bruce Almighty, Josh was just talking about Bruce Almighty before we turned this on. I didn't remember that one, but that's definitely one of them.
Yeah.
The Matrix, a Goofy movie, Princess Diaries.
If you're including kids' movies, then there's probably a ton. I was just thinking about movies I've watched as an adult.
No, I'm talking about like movies we watched as kids.
Yeah.
Just a movie that you watched at School of Rock. That's another one. Anyways,
the only one I can think of is Spider-Man.
That's true, Spider-Man as well.
Spider-Man so many times when I was a kid. I remember sitting in a lock-in one year. Somebody was talking about, Josh loves Spider-Man. I was like, I could probably sit here and quote that whole movie, and they were like, do it. So I did. I just sat there.
Incredible.
And just quoted the movie. I think I got like 30 minutes into the movie, and everybody got bored, and they were like, okay, you've proved you can do it. And they just all moved on.
That's amazing. That's amazing. What is my... So I began working on my basement. And Josh, I'm redoing my downstairs living room. It's finished, but it's unfinished, And so I'm tearing out drywall, tearing out stuff. I tore out a closet this week. And then I found out as I'm tearing out drywall that there had been a leak in the past of the previous families who owned my house before I bought it. There had been a leak in the basement, but not where, I tell this story and everyone's like, oh, so it was in the wall of the basement. I'm like, no, my basement is like insanely dry. Mm-hmm. It was in the center of the basement where I'm assuming what had happened was the the heat pump, because we have heat pumps. You have a heat pump too.
Thank you.
Yes, just to inform you. No, the heat pump was leaking slowly,
Yeah,
I'm pretty
little
sure, or the
drip.
condensation, and it was
Yeah.
just getting
Pulling
on
up.
this one
That's
area.
dumb.
So when I took out the drywall, there was, I could tell that some of this wood had been rotted, and
Even just a little drip, man.
it was amazing. And this was like because I live in a log house, so this was like a large log that had jabbed a screwdriver through, and it went all the way through.
Ooh,
And
smooth
so
like butter.
yeah, so luckily it's not load bearing anymore, because when we built the room,
Yeah.
like the bedroom downstairs, we like reinforced this log going over the ceiling like 100 billion times. So like it's doing nothing. So I just have to cut that part out, and then I'm going to reinforce the area and stuff.
Okay.
So that's what's been going on.
But that's an extra step you had to do.
Yeah,
That
but
takes 2 days.
I don't even mind, because later on, if I actually do save up enough to maybe buy something else and like rent that out, that's everybody's dream.
That's the dream.
It would be great. I was like, wow, well, what happens if you run into something like that? And now I know how
Now
to
you
do
know.
it. I'm talking to Eddie, and Eddie's telling me what I should do. And so then I just do it by myself. And then he's going to come over afterwards, and we're going to frame out what we're looking at. But I'm doing all this part by myself, which I'm excited to do.
If God forbid one day Blimey Cow is not the bill paying thing that it is for us right now, which I'm grateful for every day.
Every single day. Yeah, every day.
Feels like a dream. I feel like you are gonna land on your feet.
I'm gonna put all of my tokens, all of my
Your poker chips?
not my poker. I don't play poker. All of my little kids tokens. It's like the
Oh, okay.
children's gambling.
Yeah,
At
okay.
the arcade. I'm gonna put all of my AJ's arcade tokens into just renting something, just spending the money, renting it, and just fixing it up and praying to God that it works, and then just trying to replicate this. I don't know what I would do.
Wait, so do you want to flip houses or just buy something cheap, fix it, and then rent it?
That's what I would like to.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, maybe I would flip the house. I don't like the connotation of flipping houses at this point, because I've watched these shows. I see what they do, and it's disrespectful, to be honest. When we were looking at houses, I didn't know anything about anything back then. But now that I look at houses that we looked at then, I was like, oh, this was a house flip. Like somebody
Yeah.
just did the bare minimum,
Yeah.
and I was thinking of buying it.
You can tell when you're on Zillow or Redfin or wherever you look at the house.
It's just a look.
They just have that look. It's like, oh, this is what generic.
Yeah. It's almost like AI generated.
Yeah.
When you see it, it's like, oh, that lighting looks fake.
The lighting and the white kitchen.
Yeah.
The super white kitchen.
Yeah, exactly.
The wood floors.
It's the same every time.
It just it doesn't look like anybody lived in it. It looks like someone just threw Home Depot on top of it.
Right. So that is exactly what they did.
Like bare minimum Home Depot on top of it.
Yeah. So it would be fun to flip houses. That would be great.
You would be good at that.
It would take
That's
me
what we
too
should
long.
do.
Yeah. If all this ends, we need to just put our money together and just start flipping things and just see how it goes.
I don't. What would I don't know how I would do not doing video work. Like in my head,
yeah.
I think I would do okay. But I think I would end up trying to find ways like, hey, we can make a video
Yeah. Doing this.
showing off the house, and then we can put it on
definitely.
Zillow, or we can make a vlog.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's definitely what you would do. You would have to do that. You'd have to do a video of this thing.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's the top story. But we're always learning something. I'm always spending money trying to learn how to do this so that hopefully, Josh, and I don't want to even say how much it costs to build that doghouse. I don't even want to say it on here.
Don't say it.
It was more than you think, but it was less than it sounds like what I'm saying. I'm saying it makes it seem like I spent 10. It wasn't like that. But
there were 4 digits.
there were 4 digits.
I mean, look, this is what
But I learned so much from that. I mean, it's crazy.
2 things. One, anytime you build something, it's like you're getting an education. So it's like,
Yeah.
go online to a website, sign up for a class. What's that going to cost you? Hundreds of dollars at least.
Dude, sometimes they're like $5,000 to do that.
Oh, but if you sign up in the next 24 hours, it's 90% off.
Yeah, which is great for me.
For this online course.
Yeah. So I'm spending the money to get an education. I'm just hiring somebody to do it for me.
And also, if it's something you're building on your property, you're going to get that money back one day. Either you get the you get the money out of it by getting a whole life's worth of use out of it, or if you actually sell your house at some point, you get that money back in appreciation.
Well, what are they going to? I mean, the doghouse, where they can convert it into like a wine cellar?
That's not.
You know,
it doesn't. No, it's literally just anything that makes your house. When somebody looks at it, have imagination and say, "Have you ever seen a house with a hole in the hill like this? Look at how nice this looks."
Yeah,
and the real estate agent is like, they've hyped it up because anything unique or whatever, they can be like, "Oh man, you can use it for this. It was originally meant for a dog, but you could do anything with this.
You could put your lawnmower in there."
Well, and then they're looking at like 3 houses that they looked at that day. Well, what about that one that had the doghouse? Or what about that one that had like the insane playground at the bottom of the hill? Yeah,
exactly. Well, and that almost bodes well for people. It bodes well, or it looks good for the people who owned the house prior, because you're like, if they took that much time,
100%.
They must have taken care of the house.
Right.
Like, they must have cared.
You can tell who. Okay, somebody who loved this space and who was good at this stuff lived here and took care of it.
So then you look at the whole house in a different light. You're not suspicious of it as much as you're like, oh, okay, wow, what did they do? That's like cool, you know.
And just like anything like that is gonna make somebody looking to buy a house be like, well, we could up by a few $1,000 extra. And you know what I mean?
Like, right, and then I got my money back.
You're spending someone's spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on a house. Well, what's an extra $2,000, $3,000?
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
that's what renovations cost on a thing. You know what I mean?
Right. Whereas for me, when I'm spending that amount like on this doghouse, it's like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like when you add all of it up, it's like, what's going on?
Yeah.
But then
it all comes out in the wash.
Yeah. And the dogs use it. So, that was a long-winded top story of it went from Haiti to Jordan's basement.
No, Haiti was in the intro.
Oh, that's right. Josh, I got some good Christian memes.
All right, let's do it.
Get to that. This kind of music is just hilarious.
I know.
It's such a trend now, Josh.
Oh, that's good.
It's like, I love it because it's like a Christian watching the secular world, and you just have to see things through through that lens. It's like everybody is thinking that. Nobody. Recently engaged Christian girls. I love chicken nuggets, just changing the radio station and whatnot. That blanket is so soft, OMG. Gosh, it's freezing. Dad, what was it like growing up without a smartphone?
I just,
Oh, jeez. Why? What are children doing now?
I just have to remind myself how much Nintendo I played growing up, you know? It's like
That's true.
It's like oddly comforting, but also depressing at the same time to me, because it's like I watched a lot of screens too. Mine just weren't like small, hunched over.
Well, you're
unless
right.
you had a Game Boy, which we didn't.
That's so right, we did. And you know what? Playing Game Boy did feel a little weird because it's like, it's such a me thing. Whereas when we watched screens, it was a communal thing. I could walk into the room. Oh, Josh, everybody knows. Oh, Josh is playing Mario. There's not like this like hidden world. It's like we all know what's going on.
Especially when N64 came out and we could play Smash Brothers, we could play Mario Party together. I think that was peak video games.
Yeah, it was all about.
And then Halo.
Together. It was all about being together.
Yeah,
I didn't just play Halo alone.
Right.
Ever. I don't ever think I ever played that. I never played the campaign. Maybe like a couple times. I don't know.
Anytime I've ever pulled up like a first-person shooter since then, like, oh, this kind of feels like Halo. I realized, oh, Halo didn't feel like Halo because of the mechanics or the guns or whatever. Halo felt like Halo because I was sitting in a room with my brother and my friends.
Yeah.
And we were all just playing together. So unless I can get that back together,
what's the point?
Yeah.
It's not.
I mean, I could get everyone together. We could play Call of Duty or Mario Party, and it would feel the same way. It doesn't have to be Halo.
Yeah. This is at home because I've been flying a lot recently. So it's like every time I'm like, what's the point of the announcement? I can't hear it. I can't hear the announcement. Every time I'm in the plane. I have no idea. And nobody knows.
I always think I should be listening. I should be paying attention when they're telling me things, because as soon as something happens with this plane, I'm going to wish I had heard what they were saying.
Yeah, don't even try. You can't. They don't make it easy for you. Look, I am that idiot who pays attention when they're telling me about like the thing coming down, which probably doesn't even work in the Boeing planes. The mast coming down. So I listen to that, but I don't even try with the pilot. I can't understand. I just
What's he saying? He's just like, great, this guy wanted to be a DJ growing up.
Yeah, he's mumbling nothing.
Hey guys, what's going on? All right, coming up, we got some Taylor Swift.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden everyone starts laughing, and I'm like, I was the one trying to pay attention, and I couldn't hear it. And you got your headphones on, and you're laughing? Hi, Jordan and Josh. So I was dating this guy. I like him. But from the start, I had reservations. He never struck me as a man. He doesn't have his license. He is getting it. And he would always ask me for help. Throughout our relationship, it felt unequal, like I was sort of ahead in supporting him more than he was supporting me. He didn't have a lot to say about the purpose of dating, but he is looking for marriage. I admire him because I know he is growing in the Lord and is a man of integrity. He is also really cute, funny, and fun to hang out with. But I just never felt that confident in the relationship and was so stressed. My mom and dad were attracted to each other. I thought they were going to say attracted to him. Attracted to each other because of their desire for God. But they had 35 terrible years of marriage. And I am worried. So breaking up, we have had. Sorry, there's like this funny artwork Josh puts on the page sometimes. So I can't read
my printer is damaged or something. It needs ink.
It does. So I can't read half of it. My mom and dad were attracted to each other. Terrible years of marriage, and I am worried. Since breaking up, we have had conversations about getting back together, but I don't know. What should I do? Should I get back with him and just chill? Should I wait for him to grow up? I have a feeling that if I let him go, he will marry someone else, and I will have regrets. Wow, she loves a guy who doesn't have his license. I mean, that's a red flag for me. I know there's people out there who don't have their licenses, but like, why? Let's put it this way, okay? One huge reason, Josh, that they don't want you to have cars anymore is because cars are freedom. If you have a car, you can get the blank out of Dodge.
They want that mass transit.
They do. They want to tell you where you're going.
When there's like a massive earthquake in Hawaii or wherever it was.
Yeah, that was in Haiti. Huh? You know how many people died in Haiti when that earthquake happened in 2010? You remember that earthquake?
No. Okay, go ahead.
Dude, it was 220,000 people died basically in like a minute.
Dude,
that's the crap. I just, because I was, we keep talking about Haiti, but I kept, and it's not even in the show, but I was like,
you
I was
it by just a few weeks.
I know. I was like,
you could have been swallowed up in the streets.
It
just
was
like
crazy,
they were
man.
During the earthquake in Haiti.
See, and that's
but
where the whole
actually be swallowed up like you got eaten.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. But like that's when the whole like Clinton thing started, the conspiracies around that, because they were in charge of where the funds went for when the billions poured in for Haiti relief. That's why the Haitians hate them, because they basically squandered like.
How could the Haitians hate?
The Haitians hate the Clintons for that reason. That's just, you go there, you don't mention them.
Did you mention them when you went?
No.
Good. Because it could have gotten real ugly. Haiti is a real blind spot for me.
It was for me too, until I visited the island and I did a lot of research. And I did a lot of research was I looked up a Wikipedia article and I sat on the beach.
Watched the video that said, "Do not mention the Clintons when you go."
And trust me. Yeah, it's like when you go to a foreign country and they're like, "Don't do this," and like, "Don't have your hands under the table. You look suspicious. Don't
point with one finger."
Yeah.
Do not mention the Clintons. Sorry, I cut off your joke.
Yeah. So I didn't talk to them about the Clintons, no. So anyways.
I like how this message is about one thing, but then she also randomly throws in that her parents had 35 terrible years of marriage.
Yeah.
So clearly there's something there too. I think she has some trust issues, perhaps.
I don't know. I don't trust him. I don't trust somebody who doesn't have their license at this age. I know that's going to sound harsh.
Who's the bad guy in this message? I can't tell.
I don't know. I think it's the parents. But, 35 terrible years of marriage, the thing you got to think about, 35 terrible years of marriage.
That's as old as I am.
I learned this from Love is Blind.
Okay. She
said, the mom, because they meet the parents.
Yes.
She said, your parents, talking to the guy who's going to marry her daughter, allegedly, your parents, you have all these trust issues about yourself because your dad cheated on your mom and blah, blah, blah. But you have to think, they stayed together for 30 years. So that's not nothing. That's something. They must have worked together in some aspect for 30 years. And I thought, is that true? I don't think so. I don't know.
When did the guy cheat? Was it at the end or was it somewhere in the middle?
No, it was somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
And then the
mom
going.
found out and she stayed with him?
Yeah, because she was like, well, we have a son together. And so I'm like, I don't know. I mean, this guy was taking his son when he was cheating. And then the lady was like, it wasn't all bad. But I'm like, what are you all doing? If in my mind, if somebody's doing that, I'm like, you're all bleepity bleep.
I'm done with you.
Yeah, but for somebody who has done a lot of evil stuff as well, the mom's advice to this other son-in-law, son-in-law is going to be just give him a little bit of grace. Everybody cheats. Everybody does
a little projection there. Well, not projection, but
no, it was self-sympathetic.
Asking for future grace, perhaps.
That's exactly what it felt like. So
I've said forgive people. If anything comes out, I said.
That's what I'm saying. It it rang true and very wrong at the same time. Yeah. So I don't trust that lady, and I don't trust this guy with the license. Without the license, I do not trust your parents. So therefore, I don't trust her, the girl writing this, Josh. I don't know who to trust, and that's a difficult thing. That's a difficult spot to be in life.
I don't know. I wouldn't get. I think she's both worried about committing because she had parents who were trapped in a terrible marriage.
Terrible.
But then also she's worried that she will never find somebody. And so she's worried about letting this guy go because what if he's the best thing that's ever been?
Well, that is a real thing to worry about as a girl. It's also it's also a thing to worry about as a guy too. But for guys, for some reason I feel like that's a little bit easier. I don't know why.
What is a little bit easier?
A guy doesn't think this is going to be the last girl that I will ever, because I feel like, and I don't have a bad view on men, Josh, but I think that guys, they can find that satisfaction in other ways. And girls don't as much. So they're looking more for a connection.
Right.
And the guy is like, well, look, if I never get married, at least we've got VR.
I've got so many options.
And then they start going down that route.
I could hide how alone I am for 3-4 years before I really have to think about this. And by then they'll have a new technology that I could utilize.
And he's not even thinking this, but just in his mind, this is an option.
Okay.
Whereas for the girl, it's not. That's not. They're looking to have children. You would think. As the clock is running.
Clock is ticking, right.
The guy's got all day, his whole life.
Right.
Doesn't matter to him.
Yeah. VR, anywhere.
Anywhere, anytime, any place.
All right.
So, I don't know. I this girl has a legitimate, if this guy seems nice and he just, maybe he was a sheltered dude. Maybe his parents didn't teach him how to do some stuff.
Right.
Maybe his parents aren't allowing him to get his license, but maybe he does want to break out of this and wants to get his license and wants to change his life. That's a guy who's in a tough spot too. So I don't know. Look, you're gonna have to use your own discretion. We're talking about the Haitians again, but it all comes back to you have to make your own decision, and we can't.
Just write us back. Let us know who the bad guy is here. I can't tell.
Yeah.
I don't think it's you.
No.
But I'm very sorry that your parents were a bad example to you. about what a relationship should look like, and I hope that you can break that cycle of psychological violence.
But not literal violence, because if you call that literal violence, then we get a lot of weird laws on the book.
That's true.
Let's get to question of the week.
Divorce really is violence, though, against your child.
Okay.
If you wanted to make a law saying nobody can get divorced,
then people wouldn't get married. And then fine. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Real stakes to the marriage.
Yeah, you really have to trust the person that they're not going to hurt you, that they're not going to do this, Josh, that's a whole can of worms. We'll debate that later.
All right.
The question of the week, I thought it was a genius one. We always try and get the 50-50 split. Would you rather know how to play guitar or piano? And Josh, remember to do the poll. And so now we're about to see what the answer is. And you're seeing it on the screen right now. 65% said piano and 35% said guitar.
I think that is accurate.
I do too. I think that that's exactly what I would think that the answer would be,
Because people have a recognition that piano is harder to play than guitar.
You're right.
So if you got to pick one to be good at doing, then you would go with piano because it takes more effort to get good at piano. So if you just be good at piano without the effort, then that's a better use of time.
So you're saying piano is harder to play than guitar?
Oh, yeah.
See, this is what we need to... Let me tell you this right now, Josh, okay? I don't know if that's true because I was watching my neighbor's cat.
Okay.
And she has a piano.
Okay.
So I got a book from her, seat, and she's got these books, so I got a piano book, and I just sat there, and I wanted to see, just reading this book, I can't play piano, but just reading this book, can I start playing something? And I was able to.
Okay.
So I'm like, is this a me thing, or is this it's just laid out so nicely? You on guitar, it's like, okay, this is A sharp, B, and then it changes on the next string, and then it changes again on the next string. But with piano, it's it's literally just repeated 100,000 times, just all laid out perfectly.
I think
you just have to play with two hands, but you have to do that with guitar.
I think you're right in a way.
I'll tell you why I'm right. Because Madeline, our friend Madeline,
yes,
who she's very good at piano, guitar, all this stuff.
Yes, very talented.
She said that, I'm pretty sure that she told me that it's easier to learn piano first because the theory is also
first. Yeah.
It's also just written out easily, piano, and you can play it fast.
Piano is what other instruments are kind of built on. It's just laid out hey, here are the keys. Versus you got a trumpet and it's play this.
If I had a little
play this note.
But think about, you're so used to being able to play guitar. The mechanics. I'm trying to teach my nephew to play guitar, and it's hard.
Well, this is
because it's his fingers and he's tiny. It's okay, here's a piano. Just start. And you can hear it.
In my mind, I have tried to learn piano and guitar was the one I was able to do, and I've put very minimal effort in both.
I think that's a you thing. I really do. I don't think that's normal. I think piano is easier to learn.
I think guitar is easier to fake.
Yes, and guitar is way easier to fake.
Maybe that's what I'm trying to say.
Because you just learn a couple things and you can play.
If you learn a couple of chords on the piano, do 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 do. Okay, but on guitar it can be.
Yeah, you're right.
And now you can play a worship song. You can be the belle of the ball.
Get all the girls.
But if you just sat there on a piano going,
you would look like an idiot.
Hey, can you actually do what I see normal people doing on a piano?
Yeah,
that's all.
That was a good assessment.
But you're probably right. If you were just gonna sit down in front of one and learn the basics, piano 100%. Is better to learn first for sure. This is the thing. I've been playing guitar for so many years.
You've lost perspective on it.
But I don't know. I don't understand notes and chords. I know what chords are which and what note is which, but I couldn't tell you how they work together. I don't know theory.
Yeah. I've tried to learn theory, and I'll tell you what, it's harder to learn the theory when you're looking at a guitar and the guitar strings. It's way easier looking at the piano.
I mean, they're both difficult, but 65% of people don't lie. 35% did.
No, which would you rather learn? They would rather learn piano because it's easier. We read this completely different. When I said which would you rather know, they would say piano because piano is easier to learn.
Okay.
That's what I thought. Not that it's harder and they're wanting to learn it instead.
Fair enough.
Guys, there's a huge disagreement. Comment below who you think is right. Here's the next question I came up with. Would you rather play on Survivor or on Big Brother?
Now, some people might not be as familiar with Big Brother, but both of these are CBS shows. Yeah, well, they've both been on for 20 years, so maybe that's not even true.
They have to at least know.
To this day, though, sometimes they say, have you watched Big Brother? And they're like the book? And they've not heard of it.
Well,
but anyways,
that's both encouraging and discouraging.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Survivor, everybody knows what Survivor is. But Big Brother is another CBS show that is a lot like Survivor, where people are getting voted out, but it takes place in a house over the course of an entire summer, so like 90 days. It happens live, so people can watch the live feeds and see what's happening in the house.
Hence the name Big Brother.
Before it happens on TV, you can actually see what is happening. So you can get... And I have in the past. I don't have time for this anymore, but you can get deep into the lore of this show where like you can follow podcast recaps that are like, all right, here's what happened on the live feeds today. And so you know like 3 or 4 days ahead of time what's going to happen on the TV show.
Oh, I see. That's very interesting.
And it can be fun. It's a fun thing to do for a summer or two, like just follow every in and out of everything, every controversy, everything someone said that's going to get them canceled when they get out of the house. It could be fun. But Survivor is just on an island. Now it's not even 39 days anymore. It's like 24, 27. They shortened it.
Why?
I think they got so good at running the show because they do it. They always do it. You know how they used to change locations every season? Now they just have one spot they do it. And I think that show has become such a well-oiled machine. They're like, why would we spend 40 days out here doing this? We can do it in half the time. So that's what they do now.
They have one place they do it now?
Yeah, they shoot in Fiji.
That's surprising that they didn't do that from the start. Maybe the draw was to do it different places?
Part of it was like, now we're going to Africa, Australia. But at this point, they're just like, okay, well, people are here for the strategy, not the locations.
Well, yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
So, anyways, which one would you want to be on? I think I know my answer.
Me too.
I definitely know my answer.
I definitely know mine too.
All right. What's next, Jordan?
Good news or bad news?
Jordan, have you followed this TikTok stuff? What's going on at all? Do you know?
It's like it's such a manipulation. I don't know much about it, but all I know is that everybody is coming out against the Chinese, and it's like, okay, but like, don't you work with them behind the scenes?
That's why I'm so confused. Okay. Let's back up just a little bit in case people don't know. But anybody who uses TikTok knows all about it because I guess TikTok was like putting out notifications saying, hey, here's your representative's phone number. Call them and let them know
interesting.
You don't want this. But this actually, we're recording this on Wednesday. This came out just today from AP. House passes bill that would lead to a TikTok ban if Chinese owner doesn't sell. And then the Senate path is unclear. But this has got like bipartisan support. So the House on Wednesday passed a bill that would lead to a nationwide ban on the popular video app TikTok if its China-based owners don't sell.
Why would they? How can they tell them to sell?
The bill passed 352 to 65. Yeah, exactly. TikTok is a wholly owned subsidiary of Chinese technology firm ByteDance. And so the lawmakers contend that ByteDance is beholden to the Chinese government, which could demand access to the data of TikTok consumers in the U.S. anytime it wants.
I mean, you think, of course. I don't know.
That's the thing. It's like I'm no fan of TikTok.
But I don't like it when they're telling. This gives me.
Why are they all agreeing?
Yeah, I know. I don't like it when they tell me what I can and can't look at. Right? Like that's the whole point of this. Like, sure, why are they so worried about TikTok getting my data? They steal my data all the time. They sell my data. Like Facebook sells my data all the time.
I've heard the argument. It's like if ByteDance's if they're really just trying to harvest all this data, why wouldn't they just buy it from social media companies? Mm-hmm. The same way that they buy Chinese government or whoever buys all this land They can just buy stuff. Unless they're using it as like a propaganda tool or something, and it's
that makes sense.
But if that's the case, why does everybody support banning it? Wouldn't the powers that be? Is the situation that TikTok is the one social media platform that the U.S. government doesn't basically control, and so it doesn't matter who it is or what they're doing, since the government doesn't have a real influence over it. They just say you're done. And your question earlier was, how are they going to force them to sell? Well, they're not forcing them to sell. They're just saying,
threatening them. Really,
they're saying, hey, you're not going to be You're not going to be allowed to be downloaded. Which I don't even know how that's constitutional. Somehow that doesn't feel right. Oh, hang on. It did say on here, it's a national security threat. So it's probably under some kind, like so many good things.
Era something.
It's a very strange place to be, where it's like, I don't think TikTok is good for anybody. Any sort of app that's just quick swiping up. What's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? And I get the concern that it's like some foreign nation has, can manipulate the minds of the children. I get that too. But I also don't feel like the powers that be have the best interest of us in mind. So why are they all in agreement that this should happen?
I think this is just like a test run. I saw somebody say something that they were associating this with like Elon Musk. There was a meeting and like AOC was there.
Okay.
And she said something like, after this, we want to force Elon to sell Twitter too. Because they're manipulating, because they're saying he manipulated the 2022 midterms because he changed the algorithm. So if we can get this done, like the whole TikTok thing, then
they have some kind of precedent.
Yeah, and then we can prove that he did it, and we can make him sell Twitter.
And it's easier.
Yeah.
In that case, it's easier because the Chinese, they're manipulating us. It's easy to get the normies on board. Like, but this is what.
Yeah, weapons of mass destruction. Okay, now we need to. We can use all that information, all the stuff we were doing over in the Middle East here, to our people.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. It's just the playbook.
Some people were warning that would happen. But this is my ultimate question. Even if all that is true, TikTok is so popular. Why do any of these people want to be on the record saying, yeah, I was a part of getting TikTok banned? Isn't that just like
weird
elections self-deletion?
I don't know, man.
Do you know what I'm saying?
People are still getting voted in who told us to, shut your businesses down. They're still getting voted in. People forget. They have no memory.
It just seems,
they have no memory.
It's you think that's what it is? It's
just, no one's gonna. You think a millennial?
They have such low view of you.
Yes. Here's the question: when are all of these people going to be up for election again?
Oh, the Senate or the House people. It's like what is it?
6 years.
Is the House every 6 years?
Yeah,
I think the Senate is every 6 years.
Sorry, no, the Senate is every 6 years. The House is every 2 years.
Right. Okay. So every 2 years, this is the House. They could be up this month, this year.
Okay,
it's an election year.
It is. So
they've got 5 months to start a war or have an EMP something go off. So that we forget. I mean, remember when all we were worried about was social media and TikTok?
Yeah, it's that easy.
No, I can't even use my phone because of the EMP attack.
Well, if they knew the EMP attack was coming, then why did they even bother doing this stupid ban? Because no one was going to use it anyways.
Maybe because the Chinese aren't involved in the EMP attack, because the U.S. government's going to be the one to do it.
I see.
And so they don't want the information getting out there.
Yeah,
that they're going to be the ones.
There you go.
Like, hey, look, I know you don't trust us because we're the Chinese government, but we're trying to tell you they're going to EMP attack.
Right. No, you're right. It gets even darker than that. What they're doing, this is all staged. Here we go. We just have uncovered this. It's all staged. So what's going to happen is they're going to do this bipartisan ban on TikTok. Then there's going to be an EMP attack. So simultaneously, the U.S. government is going to say it was China who did it, but they did it because we went against them.
Then
and
they
banned
can
TikTok.
Finally have their big war.
Then the big war happens.
The big war. The draft war.
Yeah.
The one that you're so pumped about.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what's gonna happen. Okay, wow, well, good. We figured it out.
This wasn't even the conspiracy theory section.
We don't need it anymore. It was gonna be about Boeing. We'll take it out. That's small potatoes. Josh, I have a great deep thought.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do this. I am going to do my best to convince you that this is what Jesus was saying.
I don't even know what a multi-simulation theory is.
It's like what Elon Musk tells you is happening, where it's like there's actually a kid on a computer who got, if we are able to make AI now and do this stuff, well, the natural progression of life is that, at some point we're going to get so advanced that we're going to be able to make a simulation on a computer of a world.
Okay.
And they're like real people. And so it's like a kid on a computer screen, like your son Isaac could then it got so advanced that he's like, hey, I'm gonna make a simulation of a universe.
Like he's playing Minecraft. Dude,
he just created it.
He already plays a universe simulator game where you can create planets and like watch them interact with the gravity and stuff.
Now put that on like a scale of 20 billion, where if life naturally progresses, our technology progresses, that you would be able to do that. So the question is, how has that not already happened?
Right. So the theory
is this the first time?
Right. Is the theory that already happened and we're living in that simulation?
Yeah. Are we just living? Because it is
possible that could happen.
Allegedly, that's possible. If that could happen.
At some point the technology gets far enough along. Well, if that's true that could happen, then
what are the chances that we are the first to do that?
Right.
Which would be very low.
Right. It would have already perhaps happened, and we are living in that simulation.
So
it's the Matrix, basically.
It's the Matrix, exactly. And then all these people are acting like they came up with this thought. It's like, no, you didn't.
Okay.
They came out in 1999.
Tell us what Jesus said.
So Jesus said that and we've mentioned this on the show many times on messages, if you even look at a woman, that you have committed adultery.
Okay.
Here's my theory, Josh. What if that is actually true? What if it's literally true because your brain is so powerful? And here's the difference between, I'm jumping all over the place, but just follow my train of thought. What is the difference between animals and humans? Animals are not capable of making a simulation in their mind of, if I do this, here's the consequence. But if I chase this thing and eat this thing, this is what's going to happen. They cannot make a avatar of themselves and play it out in real time in their mind to find what the natural conclusion is going to be to not do something.
Just have an instinctual...
Instincts.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was punished when I killed a chicken. I'm not going to do that anymore.
Right.
There's not a
that
thought
hurt.
of, yes, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to do that again just because you have to train their instincts.
Okay.
Humans are different, and why we can do things is because if I am... Say you lust after a woman.
Lusting.
Well, in your mind, you're taking it to that natural conclusion.
Yes.
But you don't do it. But you have created an avatar that has done that. So, Jesus is saying, what if Jesus is saying, hey, when you do that, you're literally creating, you're the only being in the universe who can create avatars and other of yourself doing something. You're literally able to make yourself be doing that in your mind.
Yeah.
But you cannot do that, and you can go a different path. So what if Jesus was actually hinting at this multi-simulation thing where it's like, well, then once somebody has just completely given in and they're just watching porn all the time, think of how many avatars they are making. It's like a pie chart. How many avatars are they making of themselves doing this over and over and over? Then they start to change as they're the one being, like the being who is making the simulation, the little kid at the computer screen making the simulation.
Yeah.
He then starts to change, like the original, the original person making the avatars. He then starts to change himself as a bad person because he's made so many avatars that are doing the wrong thing that it's overshadowing the small amount that are doing the right thing.
Okay.
I'm not actually in real life hurting anybody, but you've made these literal avatars doing this bad thing.
Okay.
So it starts to overtake you.
Okay.
And the original being starts to become evil.
It's like a kid playing Minecraft or something, and they're just...
1,000 times
doing
they
doing violent things or something.
Yeah, for 1,000,000 of them.
And it's like, well, it's just a game.
Yeah.
But it's like, right, but all you do in there is the wrong thing.
Yeah. Okay, well then I've made a few where I do the right thing.
Okay.
So then, well, when you would, what would be the influence on the kid at that point? Okay, well, they're really getting into some really nasty things. Like, you know, maybe he's not actually hurting anybody, because he's just at a computer.
Right.
And he's just being violent in fake world.
I see.
Whereas Jesus is like, no, those are literally real. Like when you envision yourself doing something, like think about how radical that is. Jesus literally said, no, you did that.
Yeah.
Like think about that. We think, no, well, we didn't really. Like he's just making it's an allegory or whatever the word is. It's like he doesn't really mean that.
Yeah.
He just means that it's bad for me and for my family if I do that. But he's like, no, you literally did it when you thought that. Like I really thought about that, and I was like, dude, that's like radical.
As if you were in front of a computer screen and you played it out.
Yeah, like just like I'm saying, there's that multi-simulation.
Yeah.
You've created another simulation where you've gone down, and so you can't erase that. Well, that's what my point is. Once you make that simulation, it's running. You've lost control of it.
Yeah.
You've then made a simulation where there is a version of you who did sleep with somebody when you're married, and then that simulation is still running. Well, what's the next natural thing that happens after that? What's the thing that happens after that? And it's like just playing out, and you have no control over it, but you've created another extension of yourself where that's happened. So that's why I'm saying, like, that's the influence starts to become too much because they're doing all these bad things, and then you change.
I see.
Why did this pop into my head? I have no clue.
I don't know. So it's like it's like you create every decision you make creates branching paths, and so if you're always making the wrong decisions, you're constantly creating new branches that are going the wrong direction. And then
that is a pull on you in the real world.
Wow.
The real world.
Wow.
I don't know. I was, you just, reading the Bible, and then you just read this stuff, and it's like, wait, did he literally mean?
The Bible.
Did he? Yeah, and is it productive? Probably not. It's an interesting. I told Sarah that. I said, Sarah, I'm going to tell you the most ridiculous thing I've ever thought of that I don't actually believe, but I'll sure.
I'm happy to take credit if I end up.
Yeah, exactly. And I told her that, and she said, that's not as crazy as you. And she's not into this multi-simulation thing. I'm not either. But to get Sarah to say that, to even
huge
ponder that, I was like, wow, okay, here we go.
All right, well, now you got to make sure you don't take it a step further so that the next time you bring up something like that, she's like, I need to shut this down now.
Yeah, I know. I have to slowly.
You be like, okay, cool. Thank you for talking to me about it.
Yeah.
And then just go about your day like you never said it.
Do you think that do you think that this could be true, Josh?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Good. That's what I wanted.
I think that's interesting.
I don't want you to elaborate. I don't want you to shatter it. I just wanted you to say that
I
you
agree.
believe. Okay. Conspiracy theory. I was flying to the Dominican over is that technically the ocean at that point, or that's like the
I'm not sure off the top of my head.
That's not my skill in life.
I would have to look at a map.
Yeah. I'm flying over a huge body of water though, okay? And it's not very it's shallow though, Josh, so I might survive. But it was on a Boeing Max plane, and I didn't know anything about this, but I just noticed when we were flying, I was like, oh, we're on a Max plane. This is like one of their new ones. Like, I know that, and because the wingtips look different. There's one wing kind of going down, and there's one going up, and it just looks a little different. And so I knew this was like a newer plane.
Okay,
and which is something I noticed. And so then we fly back on another Max plane, and then when I get home, then they're always listening to you, Josh. They're all TikTok, whatever. I don't even have TikTok, but they somehow are on my phone, I'm sure.
I know.
And so they heard me talking about these Boeing Max planes. And then all of a sudden I'm getting these like videos talking about how the Boeing Max planes are actually really really dangerous, and that there's people who have come out and said, hey, don't fly on these planes because they didn't take safety precautions into account, and it was a real mess of they really made a real mess of everything, and everything was kind of out of control. And so a lot of people were retiring because they're like, I don't want to be associated with this. This isn't good. The management wasn't good, very degrading to the employees. They were just firing people because they thought, well, if you've worked here for 30 years, we have another guy who's, brand new, but we'll be able to train him in no time and blah, blah, blah. So this just kept happening.
The current crop of kids is not great.
Probably not.
Not bringing her best.
Probably not. And so the conspiracy now is that a man who was one of these people who retired early. I don't want to get the story too wrong, but somebody who worked with Boeing, they retired, and now they're coming out saying, warning people to not fly on these planes, on the Max planes.
And this guy, I remember there being a story about he ended up on a Max plane because he was told it wasn't going to be. He went for a flight, and before they took off, he made a big stink and was like, I'm not trying to be rude here. I just want off this plane.
So they let him off the plane before it took off because he takes it that seriously. Basically, there's like two guys. One is in a bunch of litigation and stuff, like doing testimonies and things like that. I don't know if the other guy is that you were just talking about.
Well, when I heard about what happened to that guy, I was like, was that Ed?
Yeah, so there's two guys, and the guy I told Josh about was a guy named Ed. But
and he's still alive.
And he's still alive, but the other guy committed suicide while he was in the middle of giving testimony against Boeing. And
he's a whistleblower.
He's a whistleblower and just happens to drop dead. So it's very suspicious, and it is scary, Josh. And Boeing is like, what you fly on. And if you ever hear stories of these planes that are, the door rips off, there's like the bolts weren't on the
bolts weren't on the plane. That's why the door blew off. That's kind of what started this whole what's going on with the airplanes thing, was that the door blew off. It literally, it's like every disaster movie.
Yeah.
Every Lost type TV show has that moment where a piece of the airplane flies off and all of a sudden people are sitting there and they can just see the sky.
Yeah, it's your worst nightmare.
It's like a worst nightmare.
Yeah.
Everybody's had a dream where this happened. And what made it even scarier about that story about the Boeing Max where the door flew off was there's no video of it. Because by the time there would have been video, everybody's like, we're going to die. We're going to die. So nobody is...
Why are you pulling your phone out?
Like actual literal scary, terrifying fear, because nobody thought to pull out their phone. Sometimes you see these things, it's like, oh, I can't believe this happened. Look at me. It's like, well, you clearly weren't that terrified because you pulled out your phone.
Right.
Unless you're that much of a NPC.
Yeah.
It's like,
but the landing gear fell off of one as they were just going down the runway. Landing gear fell off, so they didn't take off.
Planes are like crashing into each other.
Did that happen?
Yeah. Well, no, not like in Breaking Bad, but like in on the tarmac.
Oh, I didn't even know if I saw that one. But then the landing gear fell off while they took off, and then they had to land, and they were scratching.
Dude, that's crazy.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure all this stuff has been Boeing. So
how many different? Dad would know. How many different? Because Dad used to work on airplanes.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? He got laid off. That's what started this whole freaking thing.
That's what started it. Yeah.
That was back in the 90s, though. It took a while.
It was a long time ago. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so how many plane manufacturers are there?
I have no idea. All I know is that the Boeing Maxes, they say don't fly on those. So if you're flying on
Jordan texted me in a tizzy the other day. I was like, just so you know.
Yeah, because I realized I was on it. I had just gotten off of it, and then I saw this article.
Boeing plane, a Max plane, went to Haiti. You really dodged a bullet.
Well, no, the Dominican.
Oh, okay. Well, you dodged several bullets.
Yeah. So I don't really know what the conspiracy is of this, but it's like, what's going on?
Well, why'd the guy get killed?
Yeah.
I mean, look, here's this is what I always say. If someone wanted you dead, you'd be dead. There's nothing you can do about it.
They just tell you committed suicide.
So it's like it's small potatoes to these people. If you're
Yeah.
This is why I don't believe Alex Jones.
Okay.
Because either he's a psyop or he would be dead. Right? Or he's
I
just,
see what you mean. Yeah.
like, why? It is so easy for the because you don't want to look. Oh, come on! You think that just because someone deletes themselves, that there has to be this huge conspiracy? Like, think about, you got people with billions of dollars,
Yeah.
and if someone threatens that, some little peon threatens that, just off them.
Right. Then
Protect your money.
yeah.
And who's gonna believe it? Who's gonna believe it happened?
Well, just hire a bodyguard, Josh. That's my answer.
That's all you can do. But then they'll like, hey, how much is he paying you? Oh, well, I can pay you $10 billion. 10,000? I can pay you $10 billion.
Kill him.
Oh, all right. You're the guy with access.
Yeah.
Now, pow, you're dead.
Yeah.
Okay? It's like I don't want to scare people, but just think about it as a nice thing. Every day you wake up is another day no one wanted you dead.
It's another day that you didn't stand up and say something that you probably should have said because you were too scared. It's another day. You get to keep going.
Look, if you want to say truly controversial things, just make sure you're like an Alex Jones type where like the CIA like must be working with you or something. Hey, look, we gotta pacify the masses, so we'll give them an Alex Jones type. He'll kind of say some true things, but also be kind of crazy.
Maybe one day we'll find out who is
I
real
can't wait.
and who's not.
I'm really trusting Elon Musk to keep us all alive long enough. Like we need it to not happen until we are old, because we need the current boomer generation that is like leading the world. We need all of them to be gone.
And then we
need all of the people that are our age, most of them, to have made enough poor decisions that they, lived nice, long, healthy lives, but they're gone too. Then the people like us that were aware, okay, we get access to whatever this Elon Musk keep people alive stuff is that he's going to feed us. Hopefully not a chip.
Hopefully not a chip.
Maybe like a pill.
Yeah, okay.
I'll take a pill. Keeps me alive. And the whole point of staying alive is that one day there will be books written about what happened now. And I would love to read those books.
That would be an interesting read. Yeah.
That's my 2,000-year plan.
Oh, boy.
I plan to still be here in 2,000
Is
years.
it really that bad?
Is what that bad?
To stay alive that long? Because,
About how much piano you could learn.
Well, yes, but Moses, the dude lived to be like so old. Everybody used to live to be like 1,000, 2,000 years old back in the Bible. And I'm dying at 100.
So it's not fair.
I could just take the pill for 1,000 years and then be like, all right, this is about when God probably, and then just stop taking it dead.
What were they eating back then?
I don't know. Probably nothing. They were probably just water fasting constantly.
Intermittent fasting
all the
for
time.
their whole life.
I don't know.
I'm on like the 16-8, the 16 years of fasting, 8 years of eating.
Yeah, when you really live forever is when you just do 24 hours. It's 24 hours of just never eating. In 24 years, 24,000 years.
I got one more year until I can finally start eating again. I'm getting so excited.
Yeah, that's the timeline back then. Let's get out of this. We're making people depressed. Let's get to It Gave Me Hope.
Jordan, do they make comedies anymore? Are there funny movies?
No.
That's what I was thinking about. For some reason, I've had Bruce Almighty stuck in my head recently.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, like, that kind of movie, just the sort of, like, quick, dumb comedy movie, is just, like, not a thing anymore.
People take themselves too seriously, but then not seriously at all. But not enough to actually make a good joke. They just comment on what they're doing as a joke. And it's not funny. Nobody is actually funny anymore. They do serious things, comment on the serious thing as being funny and ironic. That's jokes now. That's memes.
Dude, that is... You really just succinctly said that.
It's a miracle.
Thank God for the Clips channel, because that's really good. Look, I just commented on... I just did the thing!
You did!
And now I'm doing it again!
It's like You're so right, man. It's just we're stuck in this vicious loop.
What was the thing you said? You said you take people take themselves too seriously, but then not seriously at all. I think that is the crux of the issue.
Yeah.
Take yourself too seriously and not seriously, at all.
Yeah.
Let's get that on a shirt.
That we should.
You take yourself too seriously and not seriously at all.
So just, at some point, and you know what? It might need to come to this. Think about it. Legitimately, this is so true. The only way that you can have good comedy is if comedy doesn't exist anymore, because people are taking themselves so seriously. They have to, given the time. And then you start to go into a good time. And then it's like, oh, now we can kind of joke about, like, we don't have to be so serious anymore. Times are okay again.
That's what gave me hope.
But we're in this weird time now where people are still telling jokes, but no one's taking themselves seriously, but too seriously. It's weird.
Well,
I can't keep up with it.
I mean, the comedians that really seem to do well right now are the ones that are, like, edgy, but, like, saying things that the establishment doesn't,
Right.
They're very popular. A Dave Chappelle type is very popular.
Yeah.
And is said, and a lot of the comedy is like, I'm not supposed to say this, but then the critics will be like, well, clearly you are allowed to say it because you're so popular. And it's like, no, he's popular because you guys crap on him every time he says anything.
You're making him popular.
Everybody feels like they're the one being persecuted, but one has actual institutional power. One has the power of the people. So which one do you want? You know what I mean?
Right.
There might be a time where the institutional power is keeps you more in charge, but the fear, the worry for them is that, well, the people are slowly rising up.
Yeah.
And I think that's the time we're in now. So there's a lot of institutional power behind the movie industry. And so, and they don't know, how do you make movies right now? How do you make comedies right now? You can't really. But it's just weird thinking about all the comedy movies. And especially, look, if you watch any comedy movie from when we were growing up, there are jokes in there.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to say something that's probably not great, considering our channel is based on this. I'm starting to get just absolutely sick of comedy. People's comedy today. I want people to be serious.
Oh, I see, because we have a comedy channel?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I want people to be serious again. Like, I'm so overridden with this comedy that's not funny, or people commenting on, like, hey, like, it's just funny that we're doing this, right?
Right. I mean, I think that's why we do the podcast and stuff now. And even Messy Mondays, like, it could get serious at times.
Yeah.
Messages is super serious.
Extremely serious.
Brother time.
Serious.
That's a dramedy. Okay, I mean, we've always infused, but I 100% agree with you.
And I'm not even necessarily talking about what we do per se, but I mean, sure. I don't know, but like, I'm just saying, as a whole, it's gone into this, like, everything is just, you can't take anything, like, any serious event in life has to be commented on as a joke, and it's starting to drive me nuts.
Yeah, you need like a period of pure comedy, where, like, for example, let me give you an example: Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Mm-hmm. That movie takes itself
it really does.
seriously, but in a good way. There's
right.
no commenting on how ridiculous it all is. Why Gene Wilder is so funny in that movie is because he never breaks.
Yeah.
And when he finally does at the end of the movie, kind of like breaks the facade, the point is that it's not like, haha, can you believe I did this? It's like, you won.
Yeah, you literally won.
You were the purest of all of us.
Yeah.
You were purer than me because you were honest when I was being dishonest.
Yeah, exactly. I created this whole stupid thing, and exactly.
And
you're
you're the hero of the story because you never did. You always did the right thing.
Yeah.
But it's a hilarious movie.
Yeah, right.
And there are some lines where it's like, okay, clearly a comedy writer wrote this. Mm-hmm. I think about the scene where the woman's husband gets kidnapped, and the hostage guy calls and says, "You want your case of Wonka bar?" How long do I have to think about it? Yeah. Did you know that the guy who directed that movie had not directed a movie like that? He only directed documentaries. So that's why there's a lot of like news scenes and like
that's
a lot
funny.
of like watching random people doing random things.
Oh, that's fun.
Isn't that
No, that
cool?
does make sense. Yeah, because I always noticed that movie was filmed weird.
Yeah.
Then that explains it. Exactly explains it.
Willy Wonka the Chocolate Factory, one of the best movies of all time.
It really is.
We'll get back to good comedy, and it gives me hope that we will.
So I have a new app that, because I'm tired of Duolingo. I keep my streak. I've got a 100-day streak. I'll admit it.
big deal.
It's
No
a
big
solid 100-day streak,
big
and
deal.
I'm sick of it. Duolingo is fine. It's okay, but I don't take it seriously.
What's the new hotness?
The new hotness is called Clozemaster. This is not a very popular app. I don't know why it's called Clozemaster, but it is a great app to teach you to write in your language, to write in French or whatever language that you want. It's not fun. And I was getting sick of Duolingo, like just trying to be fun.
Right.
I
So
want to take
colorful
this
and-
seriously. Like I'm trying to. I was like, is there an app that is serious about learning this and isn't trying to like do these fun little things to get me to stay hooked doing it? And so I found Clozemaster, and you can listen to a sentence that they say in your language that you're learning, and then you just listen to it over and over and over again until you kind of are grasping what it is saying. And then you push the button so that you can see like almost like Wheel of Fortune style.
Okay.
Blank, 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 blank.
Yeah.
And then you like start to write in your language in French, like, I think this is what it's saying. And if you get the letter right, it turns green. If you start to stray, like say, I want to say je, but I spell it J-A for some reason. It would say J was right, but then the A would be red. And so then I'd erase it and be like, okay, is it E? Oh, okay, it's E. And then I would just keep filling out the words. And it's hard. It's very hard.
Okay.
And I like
challenge.
that. Yeah. And it has a cool way of like being repetitive. If it can tell that you've gotten a certain sentence correct in multiple days, then it puts it off for 10 days, and then it puts it off for 100 days. And if you ever miss one of those days, like if it reminds you of that in 10 days and you do it again and you mess up, then it will remind you the next day. Then it'll go to 5 days, then 10 days again. So I like it a lot. I don't know if people have heard of it, but
Never heard of that. Cool. I'll
can do it-
download it and you do it for Spanish.
yeah, and you don't, and you can do it easier, like multiple choice. You can only have a certain amount. If it's the freed version, you only have like one time that you can do like the listening.
Yeah.
But you can always do the writing thing as far as I know. But people take for granted when they're doing Duolingo, and they're even if you're doing Rosetta Stone.
Yeah.
The importance of actually trying to write in the language, like listening to something, not knowing what it's saying, and transferring the sounds that you're hearing to actual words in the language and messing up. And it's like, it's very difficult to do that. And I think people don't do that nearly as much.
Okay.
It's a lot of multiple choice that people do. And I think that the other doing just blank writing is extremely helpful.
Yeah, much more challenging. Well, cool. I'll check that out.
Clozemaster.
Jordan, growing up, who was just like the coolest band that if you were a Christian kid that you had to listen to, because they had like that, they had the Christian cred, but they had the secular cred too. Like everybody loved this band, but they were like big and tough, punk, hardcore. They were getting played on MTV.
Oh yeah, P.O.D.
P.O.D.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I think about P.O.D.
Yeah,
And
I
so
listen to them still a lot, actually.
Do you do?
I really do.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny is even the stuff as I got older and I wasn't as into them anymore, now I go back and listen to the new
Yeah.
and they're all great. Like they never put out a bad CD. Anyways, I just checked on them today and they've got a new album coming out in May.
Are you serious?
And they put out a single in January that had 3 songs on it.
Is it
Dude,
good?
They are
they really?
choice. Yes.
Okay.
So go find the I Won't Bow Down EP on Spotify. They very politely put all 3 songs on an EP. It's not like one of these like one song singles on Spotify where like what do I do with this? Do I put it in the playlist?
Here it is. Wow.
Dude, it's so good. Like from the first listen, sometimes POD you got to like get into it a little bit.
Yeah.
This is killer from the first time you hear it.
Okay.
It's so good. I can't believe POD, this is why I love POD. Because after all these years, they're still out here just doing the same thing.
Exactly.
Real good. I associate with that, you know?
I know what you mean.
I'm still out here just trying to do the same thing.
You
Just trying to make
maybe
it
it's
good
cyclical.
Still. Yeah. So go check it out. I Won't Bow Down. And the
Great.
whole full album comes out in May, apparently. The new one. Payable on Death. P.O.D.
The show is ending now. But you know
It
who
is.
else is coming out with a new CD in May?
Who?
Matt Carney.
Oh, he's back.
Dude, he's never stopped. He's the same way as
Yeah?
like he hasn't changed. He just does
Okay.
this.
Great.
But his music has evolved, and we're actually going to go and see him after the baby's born.
Oh, fun.
The baby is going to the concert
Cool.
at the Ryman.
Wow.
With
you
headphones.
Okay. Cool.
I've never seen Matt Carney live. He's like one of my favorite artists ever. Like all the time. Like when we were in New York City. You remember when we drove there?
I do.
With with our friends and our family.
Oh, that was.
I was listening to Matt Carney like the entire drive
That'd be
there.
great.
Yeah, so I still listen to. I listen to him every day.
You've been a big fan for a very long time. Well, that's gonna be great. That's gonna be so.
I'm
fun.
excited. So and he's got his new CD. It's his self-titled album. It's called Matt
Oh,
Carney. He's
finally.
never put out
Finally,
one before.
it's like, I'm gonna do my thesis statement. Here
Exactly. So now we're gonna
the real
find out what
Matt.
his political views are. So I'm terrified.
Well, you already bought tickets, so.
I did. I told Sarah. I said, I'm gonna warn you. Okay, I've got a feeling about this. Election season's coming up, so
Everybody's
just
gotta
close your ears between songs, all right, and don't think about the meanings of these news. So, anyways,
Well, we've made it to March, I guess, and it's been fine so far, I guess. I don't know.
it's been okay, but Josh, they're waiting.
When's it gonna ramp up?
This is what they need it to be acute this time. It needs to be acute. It's not just going to be like this slow. Oh, COVID's coming. It's going to be. They know what they're doing now. Now it's just going to be like one day is like, oh my gosh.
EMP attack.
Yeah, if they do a slow ramp up, we're going to anticipate it. It's going to, okay, this is just a stupid thing,
Right.
but it's got to be different this time, but it's got to be just
It's got to be
like,
something nobody's expecting, but everybody's
Yeah.
expecting everything.
But
So
then
what's it got to be?
everybody,
EMP attack.
Yeah, and everybody's going to have to be talking about it.
EMP attack. It's the only thing that would truly. But that's the thing. It couldn't be an EMP attack because then
You
how
couldn't
they're
talk
gonna
about
how they're
it.
gonna spread their so that we're safe from the EMP attack.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going back and forth. I don't know, but there will be one. But TikTok, So I guess that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Join our community. It's the greatest community on the internet.
SupportBlimeyCow.com.
We'll see ya.